There's more than words can say. Just one touch, and I know I'm gonna stay for always.
Is it me? Oh, hold on. Is this it now?
We're on.
I'm hearing double.
It's not me this time.
What's up, Gypsy? What's up? It's not me either, man. I'm good.
It's gone. It's gone. For a second, I was hearing double. But hey, you can't have a perfect show without something happening.
No, you can't.
Something always happens.
Glitches are a part of life, man. You just got to deal with it.
Since I got this new internet, it's been working fantastic. So,
what do you mean by new internet? What do you mean by new internet?
Well, I live in an area where you technically have Comcast or the phone company CenturyLink. Now, before last week, CenturyLink had the worst cable or worst phone internet there is, but they upgraded with fiber. So now they offer fiber to the house. So I switched on Friday to fiber to the house, and it's been wonderful. Awesome. Because the fiber to the house with phone versus cable is cable download. It's fast, right? But now you think telephone download, it's the same. It's fast. But the difference is the upload.
Which is what's important for this.
Yes. The upload is exactly the same as the download for the fiber.
I know. Yeah, I have Xfinity, and I've got the gig speed download, which is awesome. There's 5 of us, and I've got 3 teenagers. Everyone is always online, right? But my uploads are at 35 megabits. Now, it actually works fine. That's enough for all 5 of us to do our thing. But I would love to have higher upload speeds, too.
I have a gig down and a gig up.
Yeah.
Also, I'm paying $200 less for unlimited because with internet with Comcast here, I had to pay to get unlimited because they have a cap in Washington.
Yeah,
so cap, you had to pay an additional $50. So it's just
I have Xfinity too, Comcast, and luckily in Virginia where I'm at, that cap doesn't exist, and I'm glad it doesn't because as a family we surpass 1 terabyte a month.
Yep.
In downloads. That's phenomenal. That's a lot of freaking data being downloaded into my house.
And I got to remember, I worked for Comcast for I worked 17 years in the cable company. 10 of those years was with Comcast.
Yeah.
There's a cable guy.
Which was TCI, which...
I mean, I have the option of fiber too in Verizon fiber, the whole thing. And yeah, they come to my door every week, man. I'm like, listen, the only thing I like Xfinity, I do. I like Xfinity. A lot of people hate it, but for me, they've been steady, few outages. I don't know what I'm going to get with Verizon, and I'd rather stick with the known. And plus, there's a secondary factor where I've had Comcast for so many years, and my email from Comcast that I really was using in the earlier years is so embedded in so many different online logins, it would be a nightmare to change it.
Makes sense. They laid me off, so they kissed my ass.
It's got a grudge. It's a personal grudge.
Mine's a personal hatred.
Yeah, I get it.
Listen, I moved from Washington to Maryland for those fuckers. Did all that, and they basically once you get their numbers up, once they did this, once they sell out to another company, whatever, blah blah blah, they let you go like you're nothing. So it's like I moved cross country for you guys, and this is the only reason I had them because I had no choice. Yeah. But now I do have a choice.
Yeah.
I hear you. Coffee while you guys talk for a second. You guys keep talking about zombies.
I made a picture because most Bob and I started Horror Talk because people want us to be more on this channel. They wanted more shows, but I couldn't do a 2-hour show every single day. Viz, it's a lot of work putting on a show. You do a show 7 days a week.
Yeah.
Doing a nice 1-hour horror talk about a certain movie is funner, it's lighter, and I don't have to worry about, how to fill 2 hours. So the idea of Horror Talk is usually we combine with one movie and we talk about the one movie. And then at the end of the show, I'll let people know what's the next movie is going to be for the next show to give people a chance to watch it. Now, today is kind of different. Today, we're going to go back from the Night of the Living Dead up to The Walking Dead, kind of the, the genre. Because in the beginning of the zombies, the number one person that you have to give so much respect for is George A. Romero.
Absolutely.
That's the man who created zombies. I mean, really. On now, if you, I made a picture, right? I made a picture. I'm going to show you guys this picture. Mount Rushmore. So I had to pick 4 people who I feel like influenced movies. I'm not talking about like Steven Spielberg's, the Martin Scorsese. I'm talking about like underground, except there's one director on there that's pretty huge, but there's a reason why I put him on here. So I'm going to share my version of Mount Rushmore with you guys.
Let me see if I can name them.
Okay. Go for it. Try to name them.
I don't see it.
Well,
yeah, put them up.
See the name. So I have the names on there, so there's no.
Here we go.
Oh, there we go.
Now,
there we go. That Lucas.
Now,
and of course, Gene Roddenberry, the creator of Star Trek, Romero, and John Carpenter. Classic.
Now, George Lucas.
You know who's missing from that list? I'll tell you one person who directed, in my opinion, the best movie ever, and that is The Godfather, and that is Francis Ford Coppola.
Ooh.
You know what? You're right. And I wanted to stay away from the Francis Ford Coppola, and I wanted to stay away from like the Steven Spielbergs. Now, George Lucas was the farthest stretch I put on here because technically Star Wars is an independent movie. I know people think it's all owned by Fox. No, it's not. Fox distributes the Star Wars series, but all the money that was put up is by George Lucas. So technically,
now it's owned by Disney.
Well, now they're owned by Disney, of course.
Yeah.
At the beginning, George put up the dollar. Now, Gene Roddenberry, most people are probably like, why you have him on there? Listen, what he did with Star Trek in the 60s, and now you look at how Star Trek is in the movies, TV series, what they've done. I mean, John Carpenter, Halloween, what he did with that low budget, The Thing.
The Fog. Escape from New York.
They Live.
Yep, Escape from New York, Fog, Halloween. The list goes on and on.
And, the interesting thing about Halloween also, we'll do a Halloween on another show, but Halloween, if you watch that movie, you will not see one drop of blood in the original Halloween movie. There's not one drop of blood in that whole movie.
You don't need gore to create scare. In fact, gore for me is not scary anymore. I'm desensitized to it.
Yeah.
That's why my favorite slasher is Michael Myers, because he is the boogeyman. He is a mystique figure that can appear and reappear in a blink of an eye. And that's why out of, him, Freddy, and Jason, Jason's just a brute. Freddy comes into your nightmares. But to me, there is no biggest mystery slasher out there than Michael Myers. And he's the one out of all 3 that has endured through all these years.
Yeah. And you could run really fast. You can have a car. You can, wherever you go, the dude just walks.
And he will catch up to your ass. He will catch up to your ass.
He will get you. He's slow. He's like the turtle that wins the fight, because you could run, scream, hide in a closet, go anywhere, have all the weapons, put everything up, and be the most active person. He just barely moves and just walks. And he will get you. He will get you in the end.
Yeah.
No matter how far you go.
No running away. But that's a great list of directors you have up there.
No, it is. Like I said, they're all different in their own ways. And one of the best things is how they did the movies with low budget. If you watch the Night of the Living Dead, he did that on a nickel. Now, only other director that tried to make a movie under a nickel was named Ed Wood, and he made some shitty bad movies, which they were shitty bad movies.
I like them.
I know. I like them too. I like them for how shitty they are.
From outer space? Come on.
They
had that original wrestler guy.
But what I'm saying is, George Romero did the same thing on a nickel, but his movies are still living.
And I've mentioned this before on my show. If you guys watch Night of the Living Dead, you can't blame this on the time period in the black and white. I mean, there were some great film quality black and white movies in that time, but the quality of the film of the Night of the Living Dead is crappy. It is all grainy. You can tell they did not have money.
No. So I'm saying,
And it didn't matter. It didn't matter. They made a masterpiece. And it's funny, you watch horror movies today that are made today, and if they pass by a TV screen, what's playing on the background? Night of the Living Dead. Almost any horror movie that you watch today, and there's a TV playing in the background, I guarantee you 8 out of 10 times it's Night of the Living Dead.
Yes. Last Thursday, me and Bob talked about An American Werewolf in London.
Yeah.
I talked about how that movie costed $10 million to make. Then they did a remake in 1990 called American Werewolf in Paris, which cost $25 million versus the $10 million. And that $5 million, I'm wondering where the fuck did that money go? Because that movie so sometimes you can make a good movie on a nickel. You just got to do it right. You got to have people who believe in the project and put some love in it. And
Paranormal Activity was made for under 10,000, and they gave people a camera, and it surpassed $200 million in the box office.
Yep.
Wow.
And here's another awesome thing that nobody thinks about. George Romero and Gene Roddenberry back in the 60s did something where most Caucasian companies didn't do. Night of the Living Dead main star was an African American.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I remember that.
In the Star Trek series, they had a woman, an African woman who was an officer. I'm not talking about
ensign or anything like that. Ahura.
Yeah. And this was in the 60s.
Mm-hmm.
So, these two people, people don't give these two people enough credit for what they did during that time. I mean, think about it. You're doing a brand new genre, and you're starring an African American during that time. That takes balls. That takes work.
That is like challenging, dude. I mean, that's like you're breaking the rules. You're breaking all of the rules in the same movie.
Remember, in the Star Trek series, Spock, the original creator, Gene wanted Spock to be a creature looking, but the studio said, no, he's got to look more human. So they let him do the pointy ears. So, but you got to fight. These people had to fight for putting these people in there, and they don't get enough credit for it. And
executives want to stick in their safety zone on what's going to work. Now you have these creative artists, directors that want to push the boundaries, and it happened with The Walking Dead. It's happened all the way back from the beginning of time of films, and they clash. And this is where I got to give credit to AMC, which is the network that hosts The Walking Dead. They actually let them. They gave them a long leash, for lack of a better term. Yeah. They gave them a long leash, and they allowed them to, put out there what they wanted to put out there. And to AMC's credit, they let a lot of stuff go, and it did great with the audience.
Yes, they did.
Still do.
Because technically on cable TV, they can show nudity. If individual networks want to show nudity, they can. The reason they don't is they don't want to lose the sponsors and the money.
Exactly.
So chance on The Walking Dead, because at that time they didn't know that kind of horror is gonna have ratings.
Exactly.
Allowed to do that. Now it's like everybody's knocking on their door. Hey, can you put our Pepsi can in that?
And you talk about cable. I'm going to list you a show that was on network TV. It was on NBC. It only lasted a couple of seasons. I loved it, and that was Hannibal. It was the Hannibal TV show based on Hannibal Lecter.
It's on Netflix now, and they renewed.
It is on Netflix. It is on Netflix, and I recommend a wonderful show. And I've watched every episode in the limited time that it was on. It only lasted several seasons, which sucked because I really loved it. But to me, on network TV, this is NBC in America now. I believe the show started like at 10 p.m. The gore in a lot of those episodes far surpassed anything you could see on The Walking Dead, HBO, anything. I mean, that's how gory it was.
Wow.
On NBC.
Yes.
Wow.
Hey,
That's
man.
a regular network.
Back in the 80s, I mean, remember, Bob, like if you want to watch Benny Hill, you have to watch it past 11 p.m. at night.
11
Every
and over.
I remember Benny Hill.
Now,
Yeah, 11 and over.
watch this stuff during the day, so time has changed. But I'm gonna ask you guys this. Now, I'm gonna ask you guys this. Before The Walking Dead, you know, when you're growing up, say, I don't know, 18 or 21, I want to hear what 3 zombie movies you guys think that kind of got you in love with the the franchises. I'm gonna tell you my 3. Of course, Night of the Living Dead is always gonna be number 1. I mean, that started everything. And the 1978 Dawn of the Dead, the 1978 version was also directed by George A. Romero. Awesome. And the remake was awesome too. I love Zack Snyder remake. That was great. And one of my favorite that really changed the genre to move forward, Return of the Living Dead. It took a scary genre and put a comedy texture to it that was uncalled for at that time. It wasn't like Freddy Krueger wasn't out yet with a Nightmare on Elm Streets. You know? So Return of the Living Dead really took the genre and kind of like, hey, we could do a lot of things with this.
Yeah. For me, growing up, being a young kid when those movies were out, obviously I wasn't around in 68 when Night of the Living Dead came out. I was born in 74. So for me, my favorites growing up, I would have to put it at the original Dawn of the Dead. And then the third one, Day of the Dead. Original.
Yeah.
And you know, I had seen Night of the Living Dead, but me being such a kid and not really fully understanding, I'm saying, oh man, this is black and white, you know, that kind of child mentality. I never really fully appreciated Night of the Living Dead till I got into my 20s.
Wow.
You know, that's when I'm like, I love Dawn of the Dead. I love Day of the Dead. But wow. I mean, look at what they did in the 1960s with a black and white film with no money. They pushed all these boundaries with an African-American male, pairing him with a white woman.
Yep.
In 1968, pushed all these boundaries and came up with an all-time classic.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
What about you, Bob?
If you guys, I'm not going to do it here, but if you guys actually read the history of the Night of the Living Dead, there was a lot of movie theaters that would not play that movie because of the lead actor. I mean, they had to go through a lot of things to get there. I mean, it's an amazing story. If people ever want to watch a documentary on it, you should.
I mean, it's fresh right around the time during the Civil Rights Movement.
Civil Rights Movement, exactly.
Yeah.
They were trying to piss off the FBI and the CIA, just piss off all the intelligence departments, really, really pushing the envelope on those guys. Like, hey.
And, the way they ended Night of the Living Dead, that guy went through so much hell, and he was the last one standing, and he got shot by a bunch of redneck hillbillies.
Yes.
Redneck hillbillies shot him down.
And racism. It was racist. They shot him by the rainbow. He's obviously a zombie.
In the movie, they mistook him for a zombie. That's what they were trying to say. But there's a lot of hidden undertone in that. Like the one man who made it through that horrible night, made it to morning, and here comes help that they were waiting for all night. And what did that do? That help shoots him.
You shoot him. Shoots him, man. That's bad. I like Night of the Living Dead, Flight to the Living Dead. I remember no one ever talks about that one.
Wow.
And then Shaun of the Dead, because I like the whole new.
I love Shaun of the Dead.
Oh, Shaun of the Dead, fantastic.
And I'm over here in England, and that's just their favorite here. And it rewrote it. It reopened it up to everybody, the masses, including the younger people, because it was so funny. It was so funny, and because we're so used to, as Americans, and they don't have they're not allowed to have knives here. Okay, so they don't have weapons, they don't have machetes, they don't have axes, they don't have hatchets. Like people, they have to use what they have, and they use like a pickleball bat or like throwing a record, or their weapons are so funny and it's so true. And I'm over here, I'm like, and I was joking with someone today. It's like, okay, what do we I always live in a house and I always use a scenario. If the zombies come, what do we have to defend ourselves? Everybody, you guys do it. Eric, you do it. So I'm looking around. I'm like, we got a rocking chair, we got a candlestick holder, we got a concrete Buddha. What do we have to defend ourselves? And then I go back to Shaun of the Dead, and I'm like, that's exactly what it is here. The guy's got like a pickleball bat, or he's got like these odd little tool. They don't have baseballs, and there's no baseball bat here.
Yeah.
You throw a record, or you just got miscellaneous things. There's nothing here. An old man's walking stick, the silliest things you would have to find. I think how funny it would be to actually have a zombie breakout in England.
Oh,
but
man.
going back to Flight of the Dead, I liked it because they were on a plane and you couldn't go nowhere. I don't know if you guys remember that one. There was a frozen zombie in the belly of the plane that somehow got loose, bit somebody who bit somebody else.
Are you talking about Flight of the Living Dead?
Flight of the Living Dead, yeah. Flight of the Living Dead, that's right. Flight of the Living Dead. Because they were trapped in a plane. And that's spooky because you can't go nowhere. There's no running down the road.
Yeah.
Yeah, there it is.
There it is.
Crazy movie. It really locks you in. Now, again, I love them all. You really do. But this one, because if you're claustrophobic, you're afraid to be in the air anyway, and you're on a plane. You're not going nowhere, man. I think that they have that movie, The Snakes on a Plane. I think this movie inspired it.
And also, you have that famous scene in World War Z when they have that breakout on the plane.
Oh, God.
And they're left with the only alternative, and that is to blow the grenade and crash the plane.
Crash the plane.
Crash the plane.
Yeah. And there's no planes, man. And so they're in the bottom. I don't want to give away the movie to people, but they're like, it's thin aluminum, man.
Yeah.
And they're coming through the bottom of the plane into where do you go?
Yes.
Where do you go?
Nowhere to
They're
run.
crawling in the vents. They're in the vents in the plane. Like, oh my God.
Yeah.
You never learn so much about the secret compartments of an airplane until you see this movie. I recommend people watch it.
Yeah, I don't remember it that well, but yeah. And they got that whole frozen idea from like Return of the Living Dead, how they opened up that canister and let out the gases that got mixed in with the clouds, and the clouds started to rain on the cemetery. And the next thing you know, the dead start coming out of the graves.
They're the brain eaters. Are you guys fans of the flesh eater? Well, it's the same thing, but the flesh eaters or the brain eaters?
The brain eaters are a comical thing that I just really love. I love that scene when the zombie goes into the cop car, picks up the CB radio, and he's like, "We need more." What did he say? We need more brains. Yeah, that's hysterical.
People don't know that there's the brain eaters, there's the slow walking brain eaters, and then there's the fast walking flesh eaters
ones. And people also forget that after Romero did Day of the Dead, we had some good ones like Return, Shaun. They were sparse, they were intermittent. It wasn't until The Walking Dead premiered in 2010 that it just totally revitalized the genre.
Oh, yeah.
And then everybody started making zombie movies again.
Yeah. Just saw it do it.
There was one movie right before, a year before The Walking Dead came out, that started the fun of zombie movies again too. Don't forget Zombieland.
Zombieland
came out a year before Walking Dead. It kind of brought back the humor of it.
Yeah.
Now, Bob, when you're talking about brains, like you said, a lot of zombie movies do different things. Like one of the interesting things about Warm Bodies was the zombies ate the brains because every time they ate a brain, it kind of gave them the memories of what it used to be. So it was like a drug.
I love Die Zombie. That's you guys have saw the TV show iZombie. Have you seen the TV show iZombie?
No.
Well, that's the whole basis. They are zombies, but they're not like what we're used to zombies. They can talk, walk. They're just
Oh.
very pale, and they can only eat brains. Okay, so the main character is a doctor who works in a morgue, and what she does is she helps the police solve murders. But what the police don't know is that the way she helps them solve the murders is by eating the brains of the victims.
Oh shoot! This is like a Dexter.
Yeah.
Another
So she
step.
eats the brains of the victims, and then for like the next 24 hours, she becomes that victim's personality and has all their memories. It was a fun show. It lasted quite a while.
What an interesting concept. That's
Yeah.
what. Wow, man. Well,
Yeah.
they got those
Oh,
shows that eat flesh.
iZombie 2015 TV series.
Exactly. Yeah. It was fun. It was fun. It was, very loose, relaxed, but it grabbed my attention and it was interesting.
It lasted 5 seasons.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
It was really popular. It really was very popular.
Oh, the CW channel. Okay.
Yeah, the CW.
Okay. Usually I honestly I don't really watch CW because a lot of the superhero stuff is more towards kids stuff. But hey, you say iZombie's good? I'll check it out.
Check it out.
It is. It's very interesting. It's an interesting concept. It's not zombies that are just walking corpses. They are still living and breathing. They are immortal, unless you take them out in the head. But and having very pale skin. Okay. But they can walk and talk and interact with human society. They just need to eat brains. And what happens is when they eat those brains, they take on the personality of the dead person's brain that they're eating.
Yeah, it reminds me of that movie. Oh, I can't remember. Fido. It's about after the apocalypse. They've got zombies under control, and they're like family members and friends of friends, and they've got mediocre jobs. And so a woman takes in one of the zombies.
Oh, I know what you're talking. I don't remember the title, but I know which one you're talking about.
Like Fido. I think it's Fido.
Don't
she
they fall in love? Doesn't she fall in love?
She falls in love with him, because he starts to take on. They're basically people with the serious autism, if you really think about it, and they've got a mental discrepancy problems. It sort of reminds me of, and they're able to get along. Of course, they still have to eat flesh. They're zombies by definition, but they can get along, and they have little bits of emotions, just enough to, as long as you keep them on a chain. You can use them as slaves. They were using them as slaves. I was like, whoa.
Absolutely.
I want to ask you guys, the one with the newest one that came out for me while I was watching the movie theater, Eric, you know what I'm talking about, with Bill Murray as a police officer.
Oh, yes. I love that.
I liked it.
They're in the southern states.
Yeah, I liked it. I know people hate a lot of the. No. I liked it.
Kylo Ren was in it.
Yeah, it's dialogue. It was a lot of dialogue, but it was silly, zombie dialogue. I love the way it built itself up. And of course, it's not what you want to expect for a full-blown zombie movie. Yeah. It was just silly, ironically weird, quirky.
The dead don't die.
Yeah, dead don't die. It's quirky.
Yeah.
It's as quirky. Everyone says, what kind of zombie movie? It's quirky.
Yeah. Right when that spaceship comes, picks up the person, I'm like, this is great.
with the samurai sword. I'm like,
the Kylo Ren guy. I think there's
yeah.
and like Kylo Ren character.
I don't know if you guys seen this. I think it's a very underrated movie. I'm sure most people have never seen this, and it actually stars Arnold Schwarzenegger.
What?
Have you guys ever seen Maggie?
No, can't say that I have.
Okay, I'm going to tell you. I'm going to show you guys a picture. Maggie is Arnold is like a farmer out in the country, and the zombies already zombies already exist, And the movie's about he gets a phone call from the doctor's office where to pick up his daughter because his daughter got bitten by a zombie. So basically, in 7 days, she's changing into a zombie, and he wants to protect her at his house. And it's slower, but I'm telling you guys, Arnold, it almost put a tear in my eye on how he's trying to protect his daughter, and he doesn't want to shoot his daughter, and she wants to commit suicide because she's turning into a zombie. Wow. How people are treating him bad while they're turning into a zombie, how the friends betray you. It's a different kind of a zombie movie, so it's not like a full attack zombie movie, but it's about daughter getting bitten, changing into a zombie, and Arnold's protecting her. Not like Commando style, Rocky style.
Yeah.
It's really down to earth. It has a lot of heart. I know it's weird.
I've heard of this movie. I've heard of this. I just haven't seen it.
It came out in 2015, and it looks like it says here you can watch it on Prime. Oh, it looks like you got to pay for it. So I don't know if it's free somewhere. But a teenager girl in the Midwest becomes affected by an outbreak of a disease that slowly turns the infected into, zombies. During her transformation, her loving father stays by her side.
Yeah.
So you got to give this movie a chance. It's slower, but it has a slow burn. But you'll enjoy it.
That definitely looks interesting.
In England, I made sure I have a book ready. I'm trying to train the locals. So I brought the zombie survival guide. Americans, nerds like us, carry these wherever we go, and we've got lots of interesting, wonderful where to hide, weaponry. They don't have the weaponry here, but I'm going to set up like some sort of weaponry zombie training for the English. They don't have pistols. We don't have sawed-off shotguns. I'm thinking brooms. They've got bow and arrows, so that'll work. I don't know if you guys are into shooting an arrow at a zombie. You've got to hit the head though. Mm-hmm. That's hard to do.
Like Daryl on The Walking Dead, you need a crossbow.
The crossbow that was in here too. Yeah, the crossbow's in here. I don't think they're allowed crossbows here. I'll find out. So I've got to prepare myself for all the different things here in England because, again, they don't have weapons here. So I'm a little bit concerned. I do have the book. I'm going to do some training over here for a lot of people for zombies. We're going to teach them American-style zombie killing.
Exactly.
Now, like you said, now you start getting into The Walking Dead. Now, I don't know if you guys saw this series. I saw a couple of first seasons. It wasn't that great of a series after the second season. There's a movie called Jericho, a TV series. After a nuclear war and about trying to survive. How do you survive after a nuclear war? And then you start watching The Walking Dead. It's kind of like Jericho in a way, but instead of a nuclear bomb, it's zombies. How do you survive the world without the zombies? I mean, I remember later episodes where like Daryl was so hungry he needed protein. He digged in the ground eating worms. Yeah. So it's like the real life on how do you survive. So like you said on your show, Viz, that the zombies aren't the show. The zombies are just like the nuclear bomb in the background, and it's how to survive. Because the most evil people in this world are not the zombies; it's the people themselves.
Exactly, and it's
look, we got a virus out there right now that supposedly everybody's getting or whatever, and look how people are treating each other. Wear a mask, not wearing a mask. I mean, imagine if you add zombies to that, the world would be in bad house. People cannot handle living the luxury of having things ready for them. I mean, especially young people ordering food down there. I mean, if a zombie, I tell my kid all the time that I hope a zombie don't attack us because you guys be the first one to die because there's people now that don't have survival skills that they need to survive. What's awesome about The Walking Dead is learning how to survive.
Exactly. The whole basis of the movie, of the show, is the zombies are just a backdrop. I've said it on my show. You could have made it about big, giant, human-eating rats that took out humanity. It doesn't matter. It's about what happens to the survivors? How does that change them in a world without any rules? Everything is broken down. It's pretty much everyone on their own. And throughout the 10 seasons that The Walking Dead has been on, it's always been about the characters. And the zombies are a nice little backdrop, makes it interesting. But what fascinates everyone, and I don't think I've had a single person on my show disagree, is the characters, how they evolve, how what they've gone through during the zombie apocalypse, the harsh shit they've had to face, and each time they've had to face it, it slowly changes you. You're
Yeah.
not the person you used to be anymore. It just changes you as to compared to who you were while Law and Order was still around.
Yeah.
And that's
Yeah.
what makes The Walking Dead so amazing. The zombies are a nice, fun backdrop. It gives them something to work with. But the fascinating parts is, I've always said that the psychopaths of this world are the ones that are going to thrive when anarchy reigns.
I know.
You know?
I've said this.
Yeah,
I've
when
said this.
anarchy does ever reign and law and order and civilization just completely breaks down, we are basically handing the world over to the psychopaths.
Yeah.
Because they are the ones who are going to step up and take it because it's
Yeah.
their world now.
Kevin Costner made that movie, that apocalyptic movie, Eric the Postman. And it's exactly what that movie was about. The postman, where the biggest villain, when you found out that he was just some guy who worked at he worked on, like, I guess, copy
He's wanted food and money. Food.
he was like copy machine repairman, and he's the psycho general who's just, I mean, he wasn't like a Negan. Now, he was close to being like a Negan. But but later on in the show, you kind of find out that this guy reads Shakespeare. He was a copier salesman. It's kind of like the governor himself was another example of that guy who worked at he worked at a department store for like electronics or something.
Piano or something. I thought a piano something
really cheesy. And the dude was a psychopath at his off time and mentally. Yeah. But when it broke out, he was like all of a sudden the man in charge. He can handle anything. This goes right.
When it comes to like the antagonist on the show, the governor, a big one, and then compare him to Negan. Negan was not a psychopath. Okay, Negan was smart, cunning. He was a bastard, and he thought he had to become this. A dick is there's no other word to describe it.
He knows common people are stupid.
Yeah. And he grasped the opportunity and took it, but he wasn't a psychopath. The governor, on the other hand,
was a psychopath.
He was a psychopath.
He was doing things without thinking. He just wanted the power. Where Negan had a plan for everything. Exactly. He had a section that works everything. This section, that section. Yeah. I mean, and if you don't do what his plan is, you'll pay the price.
Exactly. And Negan also saw the value in keeping as many people alive as possible. He saw them as a resource. While the governor, he had no emotions. He was the true definition of a psychopath. And that's why we saw him gun down his entire group after they retreated from the prison. He gunned them all down without a second thought.
Yeah.
Because he was just emotional. He was reactional. He didn't think things through. No. He lacked any kind of remorse or emotions for anything or anyone. And, that's why the governor, and what's funny is, and people keep telling me, I have not read all the comics from start to finish, but all my fans tell me that the governor, as bad as he was on the TV show, he was actually worse in the comic books.
Wow. I believe it.
A lot darker.
Affair.
I hated him.
Disagree. Don't think governor was a psycho, just a bit broken.
A bit.
He says. I had his daughter chained up as a zombie. He was thinking there would be a cure one day.
Yeah, and that's what fueled him really wanting to take down Rick and Michonne, because Michonne broke in, found out his little secret about his zombie daughter, found out about his aquarium full of heads, which is really weird to begin with, and he found it all out. They got into a fight. She took out his eye. And from
Yeah.
that point on, he was just there was nothing stopping him. He was going to destroy Rick, Michonne, and their entire prison, no matter who or what got in their way.
Yeah. No matter woman, if he falls in love, there is no love for him. It's just a
No.
convenient step along the way. Remove, just everybody's out of it. Remove.
And
Get what he
was,
wants. Remove.
he was great at, smiling and putting on the best personality in front of you. And as soon as you turned your back, he always had an alternate plan. That's why when he got defeated, not defeated, when he killed his group and they retreated and everybody left him, and we saw him wandering the streets all disheveled, and then he meets up with this new group, and he again charms them into believing him. And what's the first thing he does after he gets them all charmed into his way? He goes right back to the prison. He
could
couldn't let it go. He couldn't let it go.
Fake that good guy it's scary, man. Like you said, it's psycho. He can switch that switch and be that man next door that comes over and helps you fix your stuff, and the kindest person ever in real life, and then you find out like a year later that same person has like people locked up in the house in the basement, is a psychopath. And you just get You're like, they exist. People like that exist. It's the quiet, friendly ones I'm scared of. I always watch. Too nice to me, man. You're too nice.
Why The Walking Dead is good. Not from the actual creators of the TV show, because of the comics. Comic book writers and people who draw comics, they don't get enough credit because those people, they don't get a lot of money making comics versus making a TV. So they put a lot of love and passion when they make these comics. So it's kind of like the Game of Thrones. Those were great because they had a great source material from George Martin's books. There's a lot of fantastic. Now, not everything is they don't line up exactly like the comic. They do a lot of changes from the comics, but the comics were the baseline for the show. And people who made these comics, I mean, they're just pure love. The drawings, the pictures, the stories.
Love.
I mean, these are the people that should get a lot of credit for what The Walking Dead is now.
Oh yeah, and Robert Kirkman, he did a great job with the comics, and of course they brought him on into the writers' room for the show.
Yeah. They invited him on. Yes.
Yeah.
Wow.
And them bringing him on, and he was very smart. I don't know exactly how he worked out the deal on selling it to the TV studios and all that. I don't know the details of that, but whatever deal he made, he was very smart. He got it on TV, but he kept himself a very core figure in the decision making of in the writers' room on how the show is going to move forward. He always had a voice in whether, when they wanted to stray from the comic books, they listened to his input. And he went on I saw an interview from him a couple days ago in where he said he totally agreed on the parts where they strayed in the TV show, as opposed to the parts on the TV show where they stuck directly with the comics. So he says he loves how they did the whole mishmash of that.
You have to, because they read the comics. People will read the comics ahead of time, and they're like, "I know what's going to happen in the movie."
Exactly. And I've had one person say, "Man, I wish they kept it identical as the comics." And then I go to him, "Listen, if they would have kept it identical as the comics, where would the fun be in us knowing what's going to happen on the TV show? It'd all be out there.
It'd be over too.
Yeah, we would know everything.
No cliffhangers, none. It'd almost be boring. I would be tempted to go, I don't want to wait till next week. I'm gonna go get the comic book and read about next week,
Exactly.
and then see how they portray it. No.
Exactly. Absolutely.
The Walking Dead.
I mean, the comic drawings are just so beautiful. I mean, when you really look at the drawings.
And he's releasing them. They just announced on October 7th, they are going to be starting with issue 1, re-released in full color.
Wow.
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 Yeah.
I'm a big fan of black and white. I used to, as a kid, I was obsessed with Conan the Barbarian, black and white, the original black and whites ones. And then I used to read the son of Conan, the daughter of everybody of Conan had a lot of kids. There was a lot of comic books, but I love that black and white original. But again, you talk about that, he's going to have the same kind of depth, but with color.
Yeah.
That's a bonus. Wow.
Yeah, everything. The first issue, and they're starting with issue number 1. They're all going to be really re-released, all in full color though this time.
Wow.
Yeah.
Have you
Wow.
watched?
It's a smart idea. It's a smart idea.
Yeah.
He ended the comic books, but to keep it fresh, to re-release it in a different way, and I'm
Yeah.
sure a lot of people are going to go out and buy those.
Once in a while, AMC did every season of The Walking Dead in black and white too.
Oh,
Storyboard.
yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Now it's
Yeah.
it's kind of neat to watch it again in a black and white version. It makes it, it's got that little different feel to it.
Now, I don't know if you guys know, but in 2 days from now, Comic-Con starts.
Oh, yes.
From this Thursday, which is the 16th. The 23rd, and it's going to run through the 26th, Thursday through Sunday. Comic-Con is going to be obviously virtual this year. But Comic-Con is a huge deal in the entertainment industry now. It's where a lot of announcements are made, trailers are released, but movie theaters are either closed or no one's going to them. We don't know what the future of that is going to be. But the Walking Dead panel is all the Walking Dead panels are taking the stage this Friday, noon Pacific time, your time, 3 p.m. Eastern. And they're going to start out from 12 to 1. It's going to be Fear the Walking Dead. From 1 to 2, it's going to be The Walking Dead. From 2 to 3, it's going to be the new show that hasn't premiered yet, The Walking Dead World Beyond.
Whoa.
And then on at 4 p.m., Bob, you'd probably be interested in this. Kirkman himself is doing a 1-hour Q&A.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, 4 to 5. And what's good for the people, for the virtual thing is all these panels have been pre-recorded. They're not going to be live. They've already been recorded, but they're going to be aired to us for the first time on Friday, the Walking Dead panels. And anybody can log on to the Comic-Con YouTube channel and watch them as they're happening.
Wow. Now it's going to be all online. It's going to be virtual. It's going to be online, right?
Exactly. Yeah. All you got to do is go to Comic-Con's YouTube channel. And if you go to Comic-Con's website and you're, let's say, particularly interested in a movie or a show, they have a whole scheduling thing where you can find when your panel is going to be up for alerts and so on. And just, show up on YouTube at that particular time and you could see your panel, and get your, So
it's a shame. Cool. It's a shame that, literally out of all of the conferences or anything that anybody can have, Comic-Con is known for everyone wearing costumes and masks. It would be just fine. You would think out of all of them, Comic-Con is the safest because everybody's dressed up. I mean, even if you didn't dress up, you would dress up because you would have to dress up. I would love to go during this pandemic because you could put on any mask you want.
So they've rebranded this whole year, and it's being called Comic-Con at Home.
Okay.
It's the times we're living in, man. I don't know what else to say. So
I used to go to the Emerald Green Comic-Con every single year in Seattle, and this year got canceled.
I
had tickets to the Star Wars convention in California in Anaheim for September, canceled. So, It's like everything's being canceled on me. On my
Yep.
Comic Cons, on my conventions.
Well, the good news is that drive-in movie theaters seem to hit a big boom just recently with the concerts.
But in Washington, there's only like one drive-in left.
I'm hoping now that we're in the new normal, I'm hoping, hey, let's go ahead and people invest in, some investors get out there, put up a drive-in movie theater
Here's
again.
what's going to thrive in this new world that we're living in.
Yeah,
Live streams, what we're doing.
yeah.
I did a whole thing where I named it social media live streaming. YouTube social media live streaming is going to be a huge part of our video entertainment future. It is.
Yeah.
It was on that road before coronavirus. What coronavirus did just really sped the shit up on it. Okay.
Yes.
The second thing is what's been becoming huge for years now is digital video on demand from services, obviously like Netflix. And then I love Vudu. There's Fandango now. Basically, Vudu, which I think is the best, which was just purchased by Fandango. So Fandango owns Vudu. Vudu was bought and owned for many years by Walmart, if you can believe that. But anyway, Vudu, which is my favorite, is now owned by Fandango. That is going to be the future of, and I hate to say this, I love going to the movies. They're going to have to find a way with this new world on how to keep movie theaters operational. I don't know how. I don't have an answer for them.
Yeah.
But in the meantime, these digital streaming services like Vudu, Netflix, Amazon Prime, Hulu, they're going to thrive. And what's going to happen is what you're going to see more of is you're going to see these movie studios signing a lot more deals with the Voodoos and the Fandango Nows and the Hulus and the Amazon Primes. And what we're going to see is a lot of movies are actually going to bypass the movie theater.
Yeah, it's already been done. There's movies I didn't know existed. There are people telling me, "Did you see this and this with this big actor?" I was like, "No, it's on." I have to ask, which one of the channels is it on? Like Eric introduced me to the Boom Squad. And I'm like, what?
Exactly.
The Boom Squad.
The future of video entertainment is changing. We're in the middle of it. It is changing. And the big unknown is what's going to happen to the movie theaters.
Yeah.
Because I mean, I don't go to the movies that often, but yeah, when there's a big movie that I want to see, like Halloween, I was going to go to the movies this October to see Halloween Kills, the newest one that was coming out. Well, now that's been postponed a whole year.
Yes, it has.
You know, so
this is the problem we are going to have, where sometimes a lot of people don't think about it. Now the digital are going to thrive. The subscribers they're going to drive up, but the problem you're going to have is if without having the movie theaters. So say you have the big, say you're going to have Wonder Woman that's supposed to come out in December, in the fall, not the fall.
It was already supposed to be out already. Yeah.
Now, the problem is Wonder Woman costed like $200 million to make. Now they were banking on that movie to make $1 billion. Now the billion. Now, yes, Bob, make $1 billion, but it's like football in college. They need that money to pay for all these other little movies that they're planning to make. So it's kind of like college football pays for all the other sports.
Yeah.
Exactly, yeah.
The movies are the same way. So what's going to happen is blockbusters, of course, are going to be gone. If the blockbusters are gone, they're going to see less movies being made because they're not making that money to be able to make all those movies, because a studio don't have that money. What people don't remember is if you study the movie theaters, not the movie theaters, the studios like Disney, Paramount, they don't have the money. The money's with the banks.
Mm-hmm.
So basically they borrow the money to make every single movie. Now, you're not going to make that movie back on a streaming service.
No.
It's not. Now, like Netflix made an investment in the Martin Scorsese movie, The Irishman, gave like $150 million. Now, that's an investment just to get subscribers, but they took a loss making that movie. So without the theaters and getting the blockbusters back, you're going to see a downfall of less movies because you're not going to have no big movies to pay for all the little movies. It sucks, but all your independent movies are made from the big movies.
And you are absolutely 100% correct. And they're going to have to find a way. The Paramounts, the Foxes, the Universals are going to have to find a way with the movie theaters. They're going to have to find a way with the digital streamers. They're going to have to come together and actually come up with a new way to make and distribute these movies.
Drive-ins.
One that is going to still leave them profitable, okay? Because they do need to make profits, because if they don't, we're not going to get new movies, right? So they need to stay profitable. But it's going to, the whole arrangement, it's going to have to be reworked.
Yeah, I'm not joking, Eric. I want to invest. I want like you and I to get together and invest in a drive-in. I think it's the only option because you're in your car. You're safe with your family and you're watching the big screen.
The movie theaters and the drive-ins will not go away. Because I'll tell you why. Even though they're losing money, they might file bankruptcies. The studios need them. So as soon as they can open up, the studios will make deals to get these movies, these studios, or get these movie theaters back open because they need them open for their movies. Like AMC is on the edge of collapsing because they started that AMC plan, which I was on. So they invested $5 billion in that, and they were right there. They actually finally made a profit. First time they made a profit, then of course the COVID happened, and now they were super in debt. They were the biggest in the world, and they're going to be filed bankruptcy. But I guarantee it, once they can open up, Disney, Paramount, they're going to slip them some money because you can't have the theaters fall.
No,
you have to have them. You have to. I mean,
and the theaters don't make the majority, not even close to the majority of their money on the movies. They make their money from the concessions.
Yes. 100% correct. The way it works is like when a movie comes out, like 95% of all the money goes to the movie companies. The second week, they get like 70%. Third or fourth week, they get that's how the theaters make their money. They make it during the third or fourth week in the movie being out. And the popcorn and soda. So when people complain about the popcorns being so high, you're buying that popcorn to pay for the workers to be there to have. That's why I don't complain too much about how much money you pay for the popcorn and stuff, because otherwise they can't make money. They can't.
I'm thinking indoor drive-ins. You're in your car and you've got those ladies on the roller skates that come up to your door. She's got a mask on. She says, "What can I get you?" And she roller skates food back to the car.
Gypsy, I bet you Bob's next idea is going to be a Hooters drive-in.
Listen,
goddamn yes, the Hooters drive-in. Yes, yes, I would love to go to that. You bring your coolest car.
The drive-in could work. Garth Brooks proved it. He did a concert just for the drive-ins, and they sold out every single drive-in that did a Garth Brooks live concert for them. So it work.
And the roller skate girls that they deliver food to your car. That would be so cool.
How can scooters do their skates on dirt?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like the old 50s of drive-ins. The old 50s, the old 50s, you know.
Well, they got a hill. So how are they going to ride their little skates on the hill, on the dirt?
Well, they'll have little scooters maybe. I don't know. We'll figure it out. They'll get it to you. Little scooters with a basket maybe. But it's a cool idea.
Make a little concrete for the skaters.
You show up, you order on the side thing, and they show up to your car with the tray of food, and all the kids are laughing, and they're getting the tray of food, and you're watching the movie.
Yeah, I know we're out of time, and I just want to leave one last point. For any movie theater, studio, movie theater, movie studio, distribution network, digital service, if they sit back and wait for the normal to return, they are going to go out of business.
Yeah.
They have to start adjusting now.
Yep.
Yeah. Anyway, guys, this has been amazing. I got to start prepping for my show. This has been a fascinating talk. I love coming on your guys' show. You guys are amazing. I enjoy our talk so much.
At the end of the show, I always going to tell people what our next movie talk is going to be for Thursday, and it's going to be a movie for Bob. Bob, what movie are we talking about Thursday?
Night of the Lupus.
The Night
of the Lupus. Oh, God.
We're going to be talking about the Night of the Lupus on Thursday. Now, tomorrow, if you guys are interested in some heavy 5G talk. We're going to be talking about all the conspiracies that are out there on 5G. That's tomorrow topic. So if you're into 5G, you want to know our opinion, tune in tomorrow because that's going to be a heavy conversation. Because you can never please everybody with 5G talk. Half the people like you for it, the other half hates you. So it's gonna be interesting and fun. I want to thank Viz. Viz has an awesome, fantastic show called The Walking Dead Now. Now that son of a bitch does it 7 days a week. 7 days a week. That's a lot of work. His brother helps him. Marco runs it with him, and you have.
I have a great team. I have a great team of 6 people that help me out, and yeah, our show is on every night. It's an hour show, like this horror talk show, and it's a lot of work, man. It's a lot of work, but I love it. It's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun.
That's why I like it. And that's why I love doing this kind of show right now because it's kind of taking a break from everything else, just talking horror and having fun with it. So, all right, everybody, that's it. And I'll see most of you guys tomorrow talking 5G.
All right, guys. Catch you later. Thanks for having me.